Norfolk City Council to order. I will advise you over here next to the entrance door there is the actual Open Meeting Act. It's made available for all members of the public. Will you join us in a moment of silence? Please stand, and as well the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll continue with roll call.
Coy?
Here.
Lange?
Here.
Merrill?
Here.
Clausen?
Here.
Murin?
Here.
Moaning?
Here.
House?
Here.
File?
Here.
Okay. Under action, I would ask for approval of the consent agenda with the removal of items 10, 11, 12, and 13 that will be addressed in the regular agenda.
So moved, Your Honor.
Motion with a second to approve the consent agenda with removal of said items. Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
Okay, and with that, then we'll look at the regular agenda and ask with the addition of items 10, 11, 12, and 13 from the consent agenda to be added.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
A motion with a second to approve, adding those four consent agenda items. Again, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
Okay. We'll jump to special presentations. First item there is nominations now being accepted for the 2013 Edward I. Burzell Outstanding Citizen Award to be accepted through the end of February. Shane, if you want to talk on that for just a minute.
Yes, Your Honor. This is an award that is a long-standing tradition for our community, recognizing outstanding citizens who have made a major impact, a major life impact really to the community over the course of their interaction with this community and their selfless, typically the award recipients, if you see them over on the side wall, I think every single one of them, I know every single one of them have been folks that have really dedicated themselves to a cause that was important to them, a cause that was important to this community, have done so over the course of their lifetime. And so I really encourage the nominations to come forth. There's so many wonderful people out there have done so much, and I would really appreciate hearing from the citizens and hearing those nominations so we can bring those nominations forward to this body and select another outstanding member for the Edward I. Burzell Award for 2013.
Okay. Thank you, Shane.
You're welcome.
And next we have a proclamation for February 2013 as Joy of Reading Month. Proclamation for Joy of Reading Month, whereas reading is a skill that only gets better with practice and is essential to a child's success in school, and whereas there's more to reading than homework and class assignments, and whereas there are an endless number of fun and interesting books out there waiting to be discovered, and whereas the older students can use their influence to encourage younger children to read more, and whereas Norfolk Joy, the Junior Optimist Octagon International members believe that they can make a difference by encouraging their peers and younger students to read more books and thus improve their reading skills. And whereas the City of Norfolk values its young service leaders and their efforts to make a difference in our community by mentoring younger readers and promoting catch and release book programs. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Sue Fookman, Mayor of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2013 as Joy of Reading Month in the City of Norfolk, and encourage all citizens to take due note of the observance. And with that, I see Mark is here and maybe a couple students. You're going to let him take over for you here, Mark? Let's have him come down here and let you speak to this. And let him know what it means to you.
Hello.
Can you push the button, please? Was it on? Okay.
It was on first. There you go.
There you go. It needs to be up. Thank you.
Right. Hello, we are 2 members from the Joy Club at Norfolk. I'm with the junior high club, and she's with the middle school club. The Joy Club really does the Joy of Reading Month to help kids learn and get a better sense of reading and wanting to get more into it. So when we go do this, it means a lot to, I think it means a lot to the schools we go to, because we go to almost all of the elementary schools, and when we do it, we read to the kids, and they seem to love it, and I think it gets them more involved in reading. And when we're done, we give them all a free book so they can take home and read it, and the kids just love to get read to. I think this is a great opportunity for the kids, and
You're doing a great job there. And like I say, it's nice to have you in front of us. Tell us your name.
Brent Ewing.
Brent, okay. And how about you? You want to introduce yourself and anything you might want to add?
I'm Jordan Robinette, and we have been collecting books for the students, and we have been reading from kindergarten to 2nd grade, and I think that they have just been really enjoying it when we read to them, because it's nice to have a person older than you to read to you because they set a nice example for you. And for me, I also enjoy going there and seeing the smiles on their faces and having them enjoy a good book.
Do you get to do this during school hours?
Yes.
That's better too, isn't it? Good. Well, you did a great job, both of you being here tonight. It's not easy. I kind of pulled one on you, didn't I, to ask you to come forward. So you did a great job speaking, and again, we look forward to all your efforts being certainly in front of this group again, because like I say, you hit the nail on the head. Those little kids love to have you come in and give them a little bit of time reading a book. So keep up the good work. Please express to the whole Joy group, I know there's a group of you there, so express to them all the appreciation of this community for what it is you're doing. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay. Thanks, Mark. We'll go in then to next item on the agenda is a public hearing to discuss the 2013-2018 1 and 6 year street improvement plan. I will open this hearing, and Mr. Smith.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's the annual 1 and 6 year street plan time. Here a couple of weeks early, I think, this year. I've got a project I'll talk about that I need to get to the state before February 15th. So, and I'll concentrate on the 1 year projects that are 2013-14, except for one at the end. And we're talking about fiscal year that starts on October 1st of 2013. So the things we're talking about tonight more than likely won't happen during the 2013 construction season. So, first project is our miscellaneous contract street removal, or street contract work. We've been putting a chunk of change into that. Every year we're estimating $650,000 for next fiscal year. Item number 4 is some dollars for general obligation bonds related to street assessment projects. The city pays for oversized street widths, depths, storm sewer, and also for the intersections. Project number 7 is a project to make improvements to Highway 35 and Victory Road intersection, Norfolk Avenue and 35. That project is on the Department of Roads bid letting for this week. So what you're seeing is that I don't expect that it'll be done by October 1st. It'll have some carryover, so looks like we'll have about $180,000 worth of city dollars going in next year. Number 10 is the final phase of the Northeast Industrial Highway project. The county just bid and awarded a portion of that from Victory Road over to First Street. That's phase 3 that's being constructed in the phase 2 sequence. The city had about $950,000 in that project as well. And the final project that's on the list is the reconstruction of the bridge at Norfolk Avenue and Cottonwood, the one over by Hy-Vee. We have some deck issues there. We've looked at it. It's probably not going to be long for this world. This is the project that I need to get to the Department of Roads by February 15th to get into a pool to be considered for some federal bridge money. Whether we get anything or not is questionable, but at least I want to get it there so that it's got an opportunity to be in the consideration. The way the project's put together here is it would be all city dollars or our gas tax dollars. So with that, I'd answer any questions about the projects I talked about or any other of them on the sheet here that you may have an interest in.
Council?
So that number 11 there, Dennis, if that comes to fruition, I mean, is it going to be like our bridge on 25th Street where it took like forever because of the environmental studies things and stuff like that? Or, I mean, is it realistic that we'd be looking at 18, 19, or is it going to be further out?
It might actually be sooner than that if we get funded. Well, I called it federal dollars. It's actually state dollars, federal funds that have been converted to state dollars. So while we still have to comply with the environmental aspects of the thing, we're going to have a permit to work in the river. We can't destroy wetlands and those things. We're not going to have all of the multitude of review processes, I don't believe, between the city and the Department of Roads and the Federal Highway Administration. We'll probably have some review by the Department of Roads, but I think it stops there. So.
The only other one that I was noticing was that the widening of Benjamin Avenue. So right now, that's not even in the planning stage. Other than that, if we're looking at doing that, it's going to be a ways down the road. That was one of the things that kind of got asked during the election season as to what was happening on that.
Now, what I've got planned there is that 2015-16 would be the design phase and then the construction to follow that. These projects in this 1 and 6 year plan are basically set up to cash flow based on projections of the money that we get from the gas tax funds that comes from the state federal buyout dollars that should be coming back to the city here. I think it's 16, 17 those start. Which that stuff's all up in the air. One of the other thing I haven't factored in here is if the quarter-cent sales tax that's supposed to be dedicated to streets beginning July 1, the cities and the counties get to share in a portion of that, provided it still is intact after the end of the legislative session. So, but based on my best crystal ball is that this will cash flow the way it is. So if you want something sooner or later, it's got to trade off in the cash flow basis. So.
Council, any other? Go ahead.
Once this is submitted, say there's an issue with, say, like on Benjamin, and it becomes a bigger issue than one of the ones that are up above it, can we change that at that time, or is this pretty much set in stone after we vote on it tonight?
There is a process where you can go in and change the 1 year plan in the middle of that fiscal year. The next 5 years, you get to make that decision every year, as long as it'll cash flow. So, yeah, let's say that Benjamin Avenue went to heck this spring when the frost comes out of the ground, and you says that's more important than doing concrete construction in another area of town. We could start working on the project. Yes, at last resort, you can always issue bonds to be amortized with future gas tax dollars.
That was my next question. As kind of a balancing act, but if we did put a major project like Benjamin in there, then the other projects in the 1 year plan would sacrifice, or you would just borrow ahead?
Probably a combination of both. Typically, if you're pulling projects forward, something's got to give would be part of it, and then you would have to. If you issued bonds, and you got the interest that you're going to have to pay on those, and then something else is going to get pushed further back down the road. The gas tax buyout, that is totally up in the air as to where that's at. The old federal highway bill, what they called Safety Lou, provided about $12 million a year that came to communities between 5,000 and 200,000. The current highway bill, which is MAP 21, and I'm not sure what MAP stands for, but that's providing $7.5 million. So we're probably going to see a cut in that. So this may not look as pretty a year from now.
Okay, good discussion. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, Dennis.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. So with that, if nothing further, I will ask for a Planning Commission report.
The Norfolk Planning Commission reviewed the City of Norfolk 2013-2018 1 and 6 year street improvements plan on January 23rd, 2013 as presented by the city engineer. The Norfolk Planning Commission recommends approval of the 1 and 6 year street plan as presented.
Okay, thanks, Beth. And with that, I will close this hearing and ask for consideration of approval of resolution number 2013-4, approving the 2013 through 2018 1 and 6 year plan for street improvement.
Your Honor, I would move approval of resolution 2013-4 as presented.
Second that.
Okay, I have a motion with a second. Any further discussion? If not, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, resolution 2013-4 is adopted.
Okay. Next on our agenda is consideration of approval to purchase a replacement 911 call talking system from Electronic Engineering at the low bid of $197,059.85.
Big number for a little bit.
We have an introduction of that.
Hmm?
We need introduction.
Yeah. Well, do we have a motion here?
Your Honor, I'd move consideration of the 911 call processing quote.
Second.
Approval.
Okay. All right. A motion with a second there. Chief, we'll let you discuss then and give us the information.
All right. Good evening, Your Honor, and members of the council. On August 6, 2012, the City Council authorized the issuance of a request for proposals to replace the current enhanced 911 call-taking equipment that we have in the police division. The equipment that we have right now is having some maintenance issues. The company that sold it to us was purchased by another company a couple of years after we bought it, and then they were subsequently bought by another company after that, and the present owner of that decided to deadline the equipment line and serve notice that they would no longer provide support or equipment or maintenance or anything like that. So that brought us to the point where we needed to look at replacing the equipment. We had 3 bidders who responded to the request for proposals, and the IT folks, Information Systems Department, did a great job for us of analyzing those bids. They prepared the proposal. They analyzed the bids to make sure that we were comparing apples to apples. And we were looking at not only equipment, but the software. We were looking at the support, the training, everything that would be involved in installing and having that system ready to go upon installation. Once they had done that, the electronic engineering bid for emergency call work system was deemed to be the low bid. Following that, staff from both Information Services and the Police Division did site visits at actual communication centers that had the proposed equipment installed, talked to the actual users there to find out how it would work for them, whatnot, and came back and felt that the best value for the dollar would be the low bid, and that would be Electronics Engineering. The system that they have proposed, emergency call works, was just recently put into place at the Grand Island Call Taking Center, 911 center down there. They feel good about the installation. They said there were a few bugs, but they worked it out. It is cutting-edge technology because we're talking next generation. So the system is designed as we progress forward to be able to take various types of communications, including texting and video, that type of thing. Those technologies have not been worked out yet, therefore we encounter a few bugs. But Grant Allen said that they were very satisfied with the responsiveness of the company. When there is a problem, they respond quickly, and if they had it to do all over again, they would do the same thing. The system has also been put into place in Knox County and Cedar County just recently, and so far they're very pleased with the system that they have there as well. So it would be our recommendation that we accept the proposal from Electronics Engineering. The total cost would be $197,059.85. And for some of us, that's kind of hard to believe that's the low bid, but that was the low bid of the three.
Yeah.
And with that, I would be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Chief,
Yes.
I think we discussed this a while back when those numbers first came up, but there was no recourse on that prior contract. No contractual obligations were.
No.
No,
there was not. And the issue was that the company had been purchased and then repurchased again, and it was a decision made by the current company to just deadline the equipment. And they gave us a notice, sent out a notice, and told us that this would be happening. And that's when we began to look at various vendors and alternatives to see what would be available for us and give us the opportunity to upgrade. The current system is about almost 7 years old now, so it was approaching its end of its life cycle. It would have lasted a little bit longer if we'd have been able to have support. Right now we're having some equipment issues, and we're really having to dig to try to find replacement equipment to keep the system going, and so that's why it's really important for us to be able to get this going.
Well, certainly 7 years is a long time in the digital world these days.
Yes,
So,
yes,
yeah.
it is.
Another question I would have is the geographic area that we're serving with that system is what again, if you would?
It's all of the city of Norfolk, and then we also serve portions of Madison County, Stanton County, Wayne County, and Pierce County. It's just small portions of Stanton, Pierce, and Wayne, and then a little larger portion of Madison County.
Okay. Thank you.
Chief, where are they out of? Just out of curiosity, as we look at maintenance issues and such going forward, where's this company out of?
This company is the company who submitted the bid, Electronics Engineering, is out of Iowa, and they are the actual vendor who made the bid. The company, I believe, is out of, I want to say, Alabama or Georgia. Maybe Jim might remember.
Well, I guess my thought was just in a maintenance situation, and as you first install, something new, there always seems to be issues, and so I guess I'm just looking at the thought of who is it that's going to be there to support it for you.
That's one of the things that we were very concerned about, and this is a company that has only been in existence for a few years, and so one of the major issues we had was our comfort level of going with a smaller company and the potential for it to be actually bought out. And we actually had the opportunity to meet with the owner and developer of the system, who had 20 some odd years of experience working in another company. In fact, he was a member of the company that we actually bought the current system from, TCI. And after it was bought out, he left, moved on, and began his own company. And he assured us that he had no intentions of selling the company. He was financially set, so he did not need to do that. We understand that and maybe $1.50 will get you a cup of coffee. I understand how that goes. But we felt pretty comfortable with his assurances there. And also, Electronic Engineering has been around for a number of years, and we felt pretty good about their ability to support it and to be there when we needed them to be there.
Sounds like you've covered your bases there.
Chief, as far as financial obligation, it's totally from the PD, right? We don't get any subsidies from the emergency management or any of the counties that we help support?
No, we don't. But part of the cost, about 70% of the actual purchase cost, will come from our wireless 911 fund that we have. The state collects a monthly surcharge on all cellular phone service, and that goes to the Public Service Commission down in Lincoln, and they remit on a monthly basis a certain amount of that money to each designated public safety answering point. And Norfolk PD is the designated public service answering point for this area. So we're able to utilize that money to pay for about 70%. I believe that's about 138, between 138 and 139,000 will come out of those funds.
Thank you. Bill, there is also revenue from some of those folks that you dispatch for, though, is there not?
Yes, there is. We do provide dispatch services for Stanton County, and they provide us an annual payment for that service. We also provide dispatching for the village of Pilger, and they also provide us with some money to pay for that as well. So from my standpoint, it all goes into a pot. From Randy's standpoint, it all goes into these various little things. But yes, you could say that the money that we receive from that could be also utilized to pay some of that balance that would be left over.
Okay.
Chief, what is the projected shelf life on this new technology?
Probably 5 to 7 years.
Same. Okay.
Wish it was longer.
There probably is no opportunity to sell the old system. I mean, does it have any value?
No. Because there's no support and the replacement parts are getting so difficult to find for it now, there's really no value for it.
So we'll have an opportunity to use our new grinder out at the...
Unless there's
First
some
things first.
valuable metals there, we may take it someplace else.
Okay. Any other questions at all, Council? All right, and if no further discussion, thanks, Chief. Appreciate it very much. I think we're ready to vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
Right. Now let's jump back, and if you will look at number 10 of the consent agenda, which was request for consideration of approval of change order number 3 with Mechanical Incorporated for contract number 1, pool construction, and contract number 2, pool mechanical construction of the North Recreational Improvement Bond Phase 2 project, resulting in a net decrease of $558.50. Dennis, do you want me to go through all these, give complete explanation one at a time? We'll have to vote on
Let's do them one at a time.
Okay.
I think they're all kind of individual and...
Very good. All right. With that, I would ask for a motion for consideration.
I'll make the motion.
Second that.
I'm sorry? Yeah, all right. With that, Dennis, I'll turn it to you.
Okay. This change order is with, as you said, Mechanical Inc. There's 3 items on there. One of them was to repair some hail damage to the little fish slide. That was an increase of $2,320. There was a portion of the change order to extend their completion date by 5 days, dealing with some addition of decking that they had to do around the slide so we didn't hit our heads. And then the last piece of it was to change from permanent lifeguard chairs to removable lifeguard chairs for a deduct of $2,878.50. Resulted in a net decrease for this change order of $558.50. The total contract will be $4,857,388.50. Would explain any of those further if you have questions.
So the item number 10, where it's changed to the 2 permanent lifeguard chairs, we've done that already?
It's all done.
Okay.
All this work, this one, all of the work is done. We're catching the paperwork up, and
thought those chairs were out there already. So
They are.
I was going,
They are.
okay.
And the dollars for the fish slide will come from insurance proceeds. So it's not coming out of the bond proceeds.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion from the council? Looking at a decrease, then I think we're ready for your vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
All right, we'll move right on then to consideration of approval of change order number 4 with Mechanical Incorporated for contract number 1, pool construction, contract number 2, pool mechanical construction of the Norfolk Recreational Improvement Bond Phase 2 project to reduce the amount of retained funds to 200% of the remaining punch list items, resulting in a minimum retainage amount of $134,200. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion with a second for consideration of. Again, Dennis, you want to give an explanation?
The contract provided for a 10% retainage of the payments at the beginning of the project. And when we got 50%, the retainage was maintained at that 10% through the rest of the project. So you effectively, at the end of the project, have a 5% retainage. Contractor still has some punch list items to finish on the project that he can't complete until we get some spring weather. So as opposed to withholding the entire 10% or 5%, which would be about $230,000, $240,000 on this project, we went in and put a dollar value to those punch list items, which was about $67,000, and then doubled that. And says, okay, we'll pay all the retainage except for this last $134,000. So what this basically does is provides that we can pay the contractor a part of his retainage now, as opposed to holding it all until he can complete the punch list items when the weather permits him to do that. Contract amount still is the $4,857,388.50 that was after the last change order. So.
Okay.
So is there a completion date then, Dennis, that's required? I understand the
we hang on to the
mechanics of it, but
hang on to the $134,000
well, sure,
until he gets it done. But
yeah, are you saying June 1st or July 1st or?
They'll be in there as soon as the weather permits. Some of this work has to be done before we start the pool up. So,
okay.
In some of that, and part of it can't be done until the pool is operational, because part of it has to do with the chemical control system. Needed some tweaking, and we figured out what was happening at the end of the season. They just have to fix it, and then we have to get the system up and operational, make sure that it's proven that it's doing what it's supposed to do, or go looking for the next problem.
Thank you.
Dennis, I looked them all over, and the only one that jumped out at me was in Division 15B, where it had item 10, where the manufacturer said they weren't going to honor their warranty. So how do other than that, we got 10 grand on them, how do we, I mean, the warranty is kind of important on that, isn't it?
Yeah, we're telling them. I think that we'll just have to keep after them until we get the warranty, or hope that the $10,000 is big enough to cover the warranty issue.
20,000 actually.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Any other questions? That way, folks? Are you ready to vote? Okay, all right. Please vote then on consideration of approval of the change order as read on item 11.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
Next is consideration of approval of change order number 6 with Makoheny Contracting Incorporation for contract number 3, general construction of the Norfolk Recreational Improvement Bond Phase 2 project, resulting in a net increase of $12,514. Again, I would ask for a motion.
So move, Your Honor.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Dennis, you want to give explanation, please?
Yeah, this again is a whole list of items that were related to primarily the building of the multipurpose building, and then the chemical building as well. The first one was there was some added steel needed to the multipurpose building that the architect and or the engineer and the building folks had a difference of opinion on. They settled at $3,500 on that one. City asked them to delete the sanitary napkin dispenser. That was a deduct of $568. The contract provided for a $35,000 allowance for the irrigation system. We were able to get that completed for about $18,000, so you're seeing a $17,230 deduct for that. The next item, they got ready to put down the floor in the multipurpose building, and they did a test on concrete vapor, and they said it wouldn't adhere without putting a vapor barrier on there. Kind of pricey at $23,098. It's one of them we really didn't have a choice if we wanted to keep moving forward and get the building opened on time. Contractor's solution was going to be to let it cure out longer, but we were already up against the deadline to get done. There was a exhaust fan that on the plans was called out to be a single-phase motor and actually needed to be a three-phase motor. The three-phase starter and breaker were more expensive, to the tune of $1,304. We ended up with a larger area under the slides that ended up with the river rock added at $1,418. Number 7, the doors between the two portions of the restrooms, we only had them blocked from one side, so on one side you'd be able to push on those double doors and they would open. So we had to put the slide locks on both sides of the door. That increased the costs $171. Code required some CO2 alarms in any room that had a gas-fired water heater, $232. And then on the mechanical building, there was some door stops that just aren't heavy enough to hold the doors in the wind. So we're putting on door closures there at a cost of $589. The net of all those items is $12,514. Total contract is $5,032,366. And if you look at the previous change orders, that's showing $363,322. A large portion of that is related to hail damage. Has inflated that number, so that was something that was beyond our control and that. So, and there again, the hail damage is being paid for with insurance proceeds.
Thank you. Okay, Council. Again, any questions on what Dennis has shared with us on this change order request or approval for?
Your Honor, I will be abstaining from this vote.
Okay. All right. If nothing further, then I would ask that you would consider voting. Let's see, we're on item number 12, consideration of the approval. Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative. Council member Murin abstaining. Motion carries.
Okay, and finally, we have consideration of approval of change order number 7 with McElhaney Contracting Incorporated for contract number 3, general construction of the Norfolk Recreational Improvement Bond Phase 2 project to reduce the amount of retained funds to 200% of the remaining punch list items, resulting in a minimum retainage amount of $287,400. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion with a second. Dennis?
This is the same as the second change order for Mechanical Inc. We're just adjusting the retainage amount. It has no impact on what the overall total contract amount is. And in fact, this one actually raises the retainage a little bit above the 5% that he could be getting down to at this point in time. We're having issues with the flooring, as I think most of you know. Those, while they've been approved in the change order, those have been withheld from the contract as far as the payment. So we haven't paid for the floor that we're having issues with.
Okay. Any questions at all, council? All right. Then I would ask that you please vote on approval.
Your Honor, once again, I will be abstaining from this vote.
Okay, Councilman. Again, consideration of approval of the change order number 7 as presented us. Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, Councilmember Murin abstaining, motion carries.
Okay. Dennis, I appreciate your pulling these off and giving us full explanation. I know there were some different questions among the council, so I think this was a smart move, and I appreciate your great explanation on it.
We're always happy to do that, and if there's anything on the consent agenda you ever want any questions we don't feel, just please take them off and we'll answer those questions.
Very good. All right. Seeing nothing further on the agenda then, you are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
See if I can make this second.